I'm ready. I'm holding on to my seat.
All right, we are live. So for anyone who's just filing in, we're just going to give it another minute or so. I don't think there's anyone here yet. There's one person and they dropped off. So give it a couple of minutes.
Okay. So what platform did you use for this experience?
So I used Hey Summit and I have never used it before, but again, back to my DES course, I tried to think about what I wanted to do before I chose the platform. So I knew that I wanted pre-recorded talks because I just didn't think that hosting live all of myself was manageable.
Yeah.
So I was really I was first looking for like a platform that could host pre-recorded talks and then also have some live capabilities. And I'm most familiar with Zoom, obviously, like other people are. So
Yeah.
Summit kind of merged all of my needs together. So
That's great. That's great. I mean, it's awesome when you can take a platform and have it strategically match everything, your objectives for the event. I think that's ultimately what we need to do. So,
yes, again, I apologize if there's a buzzsaw in the background. There's construction on the house next door and they decided to stay. So perfect.
Well, I actually can't hear anything.
Okay,
So
perfect. So guys, if you're just filling in, throw some questions in the Q&A and we're gonna get started in just a minute. Derrick and I were just talking about my decision to choose the Hey Summit platform, and I took some knowledge from my DES course where Derrick was hosting and proctoring that DES for PCMA. So I knew that I wanted some pre-recorded talks and some live sessions, and I really let my strategy be, creating what I needed to get that, and then choosing the virtual technology as opposed to choosing the technology and then creating my event off of that. And I learned that through the DES that Derrick teaches, so I encourage you all to check that out.
yeah, it's all about the event strategy. That's where it starts and that's where it ends.
So throw some questions in the Q&A, and I'm going to get started with the first question. Someone asked it through the registration when you're first registering for the event. So that question is, how can someone with an operations background, or even just someone who is not as familiar with virtual events, gain more virtual event experience and get involved in this newly changing industry?
So, I mean, virtual events right now are everywhere. It's what a lot of organizations are doing. It's what a lot of businesses are operating in because of the socially distanced world that we now live in. And so being engaged in virtual is step one. Participating in experiences. Both the Republican and Democratic conventions are all virtual. And there's a lot of takeaways, amazing takeaways from those experiences that you can then take and adopt to your own then practices. So as we think through kind of getting engaged and involved within the space, definitely, again, take the opportunity to be involved in and participate, actively participate in virtual events. That's ultimately step one. And then from there, if you're looking to create your own experiences, start small. Maybe leverage some of the free technology out there like Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Google, and then plan get-togethers, meet and greets, networking activities, and use again the tools around you to facilitate these large or these smaller scale events, and then taking that on the larger scale and maybe doing more content-driven things, and ultimately at the very end of the day, looking back at, and this is what we were just talking about, is looking back at the purpose. Why are you doing this in the first place? What's the point? And ensure that you're executing and you're creating things and opportunities, experiences that truly are delivering on the objectives that you have.
Yeah, that's really great advice. And it's so true. I mean, I don't think, besides maybe yourself, a lot of folks in our industry aren't virtual events experts. And so we're all kind of, learning more, and we're on the same playing field as far as, getting up to speed and things like that. And this event for me was one of the ways where I got more familiar with digital events. I've
Yeah.
never used this platform. I've definitely never hosted an event on my own, but I've never hosted a real virtual experience too far outside of Zoom. So
Mhm.
I just kind of learned, and now we have over 100 attendees, and it went great. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
cool.
And it just takes just jumping in and doing.
Yeah, that's great. So I think a lot of folks are obviously concerned about, the future of events in general. So what is your take on, when we're going to see live events or, in-person events happening again? Is that, coming back soon? What is your take on when all we can expect to have a more normal reality?
So I do believe that virtual will be a part of our normal reality moving forward. I see face-to-face coming back to kind of some type of normal situation by fall of next year. That's if we get to a point of having having something to really cure the disease or virus, and really minimize the pandemic. So with that in mind, I think the transition to all of this, from socially distance to face-to-face experiences, comes within regional nodes. I think that they really are kind of the evolution of the socially distanced world and the in-person experiences, where planners are planning then these regional based experiences with a mothership, if you will, within a specific destination. So while you may have an annual meeting in Washington, D.C., on the East Coast, you also then have these regional meetings at the same time in maybe Dallas, Texas, or San Francisco, California, or Toronto, Canada, or even in Barcelona, Spain. And then you then leverage those events and the education at those events to pipe into the others, so that some of your content is then live and some of it is then in this hybrid model. So it's then pulling in that content from those other locations, so that you're then watching in-person presentations, so live presenters, and or then you're watching then virtual ones that are then broadcast from these other locations. So you're then sharing content, yet you're still then leveraging that community that you're then physically located in. So it's building a local sense of unity with the collaborative sense of shared content and experiences from the other locations. So I think that's kind of then the model that puts us in the middle of the socially distanced space, getting back to in-person experiences. And I think we see more and more of those start populating come fall of 2021.
Yeah, it seems far away, but I think you're right. I think, to be safe, and yeah, I think, that's where we're headed. So,
Well, I mean, a lot of people want to try to rush this a little bit, and unfortunately, that's not the safest thing to do. And our minds and hearts should be in safety and security first and foremost, or the health and safety of our participants and of our teams and of the partners that we source. And then from there, how do we then cultivate experiences, whether they be face-to-face or virtual, And how do we then leverage this virtual technology even to extend those areas within our organizations, and to keep pushing boundaries and ensuring that we're reaching broader audiences, and not reverting back to just doing things one way and executing one way and delivering one way, because at the very end of the day, we like customization. We all like customization. That's why we dress differently. That's why we have different preferences in music, because we like to then customize our lives and what we do, how we do it, where we do it. So education and networking should be the same thing, and that's our responsibility to plan those experiences for folks.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. So guys, I know these Q&As are really short. Maybe note to self, add 15 minutes to the Q&As next time, but we got to jump into the to the next presentation. So Derrick, thank you so much for being here and for giving us your presentation. We loved it, and we really appreciate your time.
My pleasure. And again, if anyone wants to connect, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or any social channel. Also, this QR code here directs you to my staff page for TMG. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Derrick.
All right, take care, everyone.
Bye.